Podcasting is just going to keep on getting bigger and bigger. And with more people seeing podcasting as this growing content medium, more people are embracing it. And while there are a lot of videos out there about what to do if you're a beginner in podcasting, and I have done one of these videos myself on this channel, I'm going to share through 3 advanced podcasting tips where maybe you've heard all the same tips again, like, invest in a good microphone, have an interview structure. You've heard about common tips like that. So this video, we're just going to throw in some advanced ones that are really going to help you take you to the next level. What's going on, guys? Marc Guberti here, and I host not 1, not 2, but 3 podcasts, and that doesn't even include the podcasts I help my clients with from a coaching or a management standpoint. So in this video, we have these 3 advanced tips. So it's very important to think about the conversation you're going to have with a guest. I do recommend interview style. This is how I will be approaching these 3 tips, but one of the things to do when you have enough interviews under your belt is to stop coming in with pre-written questions. So as for context, I do 5 episodes a week on Breakthrough Success, 2 a week on Ditch the Job, and 1 a week on Profitable Public Speaking. That does not include my virtual summits. To do enough interviews each week, I'm easily doing 10 interviews a week on a light day. So for me to come up with like 100 questions of prep and really thinking that out takes a lot of time. And with the question prep, you also fall into the trap of just relying on those questions. So when I have a conversation with someone, all I really need to do is know the topic. And if it's a topic I know well enough, then I just engage in a conversation. Like in a real life conversation, you don't really have a sheet of paper in front of you that says, question 1's going to be this. Okay, great. Question 2 is going to be this. Think of podcasting as real life conversations. You wouldn't come in with a bunch of questions in advance. You would just listen to the guest and see what question you can ask based on what their response is. This usually leads to a more dynamic interview. The second pro podcasting tip is to have a way to do more efficient show notes. So show notes and post-production, that's the thing that really drags podcasters down the most, or they just don't do it, and then that hurts the discoverability of their show. So you need to have show notes. You don't want to have to re-listen to the entire episode to figure out what you're supposed to say within the show notes. So that's why I have a rubric that I use to basically say what are the key links, what are the key insights from this episode, and any other details I want to include in there. This means I don't have to go back and re-listen to the episode during post-production. All I have to do is look at my rubric for that episode and then proceed to fill in the blanks in my show notes. So I like to use this workbook right here. This is actually my own workbook that I did write on my own, because I didn't really see something like this in the market. So I decided, let's create this rubric that basically gives you episode number, when you're going to publish the episode, and just some insights you want to remember for you and just to put in the show notes as well. Now, we do have a bonus tip coming up, but the third tip we want to mention here is to think beyond the interview. So as you start to bring on more guests on your show, think, is this someone who I could do a collaboration with in the future? Like we co-author a book, we promote each other's books. Maybe this person becomes a client. Maybe this person has an affiliate program that I promote in the future. So think beyond the interview, because so many times podcast relationships are one-offs. You find the person or the person finds you, you do the interview, you publish the episode, you tell the person the episode is published, and then that's it. That's the end of the relationship. There's no real follow-up. There's no real development. It's just, here's your episode. Go share it if you want. If not, that's fine. You can use something like Spark or Gmail to schedule those emails so you don't have to keep on reminding guests day of that their episode is live. We're throwing in a bonus in addition to the bonus that's coming up. But think about where you can take these relationships to the next level, because a podcast is such a great opportunity to grow your network. You don't want to waste it by not having a plan with moving forward in the relationship. And this isn't just about what you can get from the relationship. If the guest has a really great book coming out and they want to get more exposure for that book, which all authors obviously do, then you could even share that book with your audience and think of ways that you could create the win-win atmosphere for your guests where, yes, you may have like coaching or management that you can help them with, but maybe they have the same type of thing, but in a different area that you want help in. I mean, I've hired some of the guests who have come on Breakthrough Success to help me with different areas in my business. I've promoted their books, been part of the virtual summits. So just think of all the different ways that you can continue to move the relationship forward beyond the interview. And the bonus tip, not the Gmail Spark bonus tip, but the actual bonus tip meant for this video is to nail your intro. And when it comes to the intro, it truly is the make or break of your episode. Not only will the intro affect how the rest of the interview goes, because a bad intro is going to lead to, an okay conversation or like a slow start conversation that can become something later on, or even worse, it's going to take listeners away from your podcast, because a podcast is a heavy investment from a time standpoint. I mean, we're talking 20 minutes for my shows, and that's on the low end. I mean, there are a lot of shows that go 40 minutes to an hour. And if your intro is bad, like if it doesn't have the energy, if it doesn't have the pop, if it doesn't get people wanting to listen to more, that's 40 minutes to an hour that they know they would have to invest to listen to your whole episode. So they're just not going to do it. So nailing the intro is vital. The way that you do that is you lead in with a hook. What is it that people are coming to your episode for? So a lot of people just say, oh, welcome to my show. I am, the host. And that's fine for like the first time someone's there. But if you want to get returning loyal people, like they know who you are already. So lead in with the hook. So for like this video, 3 pro podcasting tips. I wouldn't say welcome to Breakthrough Success. I'm Marc Guberti, and in this episode, I'd say, do you want to know the pro podcasting tips that can take you to the next level that you probably haven't heard of before? That's what we're talking about in this episode of Breakthrough Success. Hi, I'm Marc Guberti, the guy who helps you gain more visibility and revenue. You see how leading with the hook creates a much different impression of what the experience is going to be, and it really attracts people within that first sentence, rather than taking a few paragraphs to get to the hook, to get to the guest. Like I make it a point in under a minute, I have to say, so-and-so, welcome to the show. Because if I do like 3 minutes or 4 minutes of intro, people are like, all right, stop talking. Let's get into the content. So you do want to think about the intro, immediately lead in with a hook. Have that part where you mention who you are. Like, I help people with visibility and revenue. Like mention that piece also, because some of your listeners may become clients. Some of your guests may decide to ask you about what you offer and if the client relationship makes sense. So you do want to mention yourself briefly, like a one-liner, and then you go into the guest intro for a little bit. If they give me a long bio, I just clip it down to maybe 50 words. I don't really count the words, but it's something very short. You want to be able to say, welcome to the show in less than a minute and get right into the interview. Once you nail these 3 advanced podcasting tips, you're going to start to see a lot more traction with your podcast from a listener standpoint, from an engagement standpoint, and from the relationships that truly come out of a podcast. There have been some people who have first appeared on Breakthrough Success, who I've had on Ditch the Job and Profitable Public Speaking and virtual summits. And I've done collaborations with them as well. So there's a lot of different things that can happen with relationship building. And if you guys want to learn more about how to build your platform, gain more visibility, and boost your revenue, smash the subscribe button if you haven't already. And if you do appreciate the effort that went into this video, I'd greatly appreciate if you could leave a like as well. So signing off, dream big, achieve greatness, and unlock your potential today.